So just thought it'd be good to just record an updated video on setting up the youth centre. So as you know, you just need to come unlock here, unlock these two and just pull the bolts down so they're clear, and then the doors slide open. When we walk into the youth centre, first thing that we're going to do is turn the fluorescent lights on. That's a switch that looks like you're going to do something in this huge electrics box, but it isn't. It's just above the male toilet sign. It's here. All right, that's going to bring the lights on above the top. And the next thing we want to do is turn on the main electricity for the actual nice stage lighting box. So let me just step back again so you can see that clearly. All right, so that's the switch that we've just turned on. We're now looking for that one up there, nice and high. I'm going to turn that from left to right. That's about all that you need to do on that. You might hear some hissing coming from there. That's okay, it shows that you've turned it on. All right, the next thing that we're actually going to do is we now need to turn on the big screen and some of the backlights and everything else. So you come to the stage and you will see that there's a socket down there. You're going to turn both of those on. All right, so let's just come in here. This one and this one. You hear some fans start up, and we're just going to go and repeat that on the other side. As you'll see, some of the lights have come on for half the side. We're just going to come back and we're going to repeat that over on this side. You can see again the two power sockets down here. All right, and the fans start up. And we come backwards. You can now see that the stage is set up power-wise. You won't see anything on the actual big screen at all. All right, that's powered from the sound desk we're going to have a look at the moment. But you'll know whether you've got everything on because you've got these side lights and everything set up. Then we're going to come to the sound desk. All right, and slowly work through what needs to be done here. So first you might want to turn the light on. That's just going to give you some light actually in the box. All right, and we'll work through all of the bits that are here as we go along. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the power socket here. The first one we're going to turn on is this one over here. Please don't turn this one on, and do follow the sequence that we're going through. You'll hear things start to whir up. You'll actually hear these boxes start to power up in here. And the next thing we're going to do is turn on the Apple Mac. So if you've not done much with an Apple Mac before, you want to find there's a button literally behind here. It's just a soft push button. All right, you just push it in, and you should find you just have to wait for a moment, and you'll actually find I hear the boom sound. Hopefully like that, but hopefully in a moment you'll actually start to see there's the Apple symbol. All right, so while that's starting up, we can probably do the next main thing that you need to remember of the setting up. So the screen up here, the screen out here, doesn't know about its size or dimensions or anything that plays on it. And so it needs to be what's called scaled. So if we look at the Mac, I've just moved the Mac around slightly, and there's a box, there's two boxes around the back here. The one that we're interested in, this one at the top, which is called the scaler, it's already preset. So what we need to do, this is a little joystick that you can see here. So we scroll it to the right once, we scroll it to the right twice, and you can see it's got those brackets around the one. We scroll it to the right again, it's now got brackets around the load, and then we push the box in. What this actually does is actually rescales the screen out there, so it knows its dimension. Look, if you get a bit confused and you're not sure what to do or where you've got yourself, if you actually look at the back, it's got a power connector here. Literally just pull that out, give it a moment and pop it back in again. All right, and then repeat that process. So you need it to have the brackets around the load, and you need it to have pushed that button inwards to make it happen. All right, so we can then tidy back our Mac. So we're just trying to get stuff set up so that we know that it's going to work as it needs to. We've then got our lighting desk. So the lighting desk controls the lights that are up here and here. All right. And those will come on in due course. It's one of these faders on this side here that you can push up. And once you've pushed them up like that, if we now look up, you can actually see we've just got a nice little red glow, red and blue glow on there. We don't really use it for anything more than that. Okay, so now let's just move to the sound desk. So we're going to take its plastic cover off. All right, and there is a process. We must get this bit right or we will cause damage to the equipment. So right down here at the back is an on-off switch. All right, so if we push that on-off switch in, you'll actually see that the sound desk will slowly start itself up. Here we go. We can see all the lights starting to flash and everything else that's related to this. So while that's just starting, these two boxes up here are for our radio mics. So we need to just push this once to turn it on, push this once to turn it on. All right, so once that's starting, those can start. All right, so let's have a little look at a couple of gotchas. Because this sound desk is used by the youth as well as ourselves, on Friday night, when you come in on a Sunday, this might be set up very slightly differently. So this is our test go through to make sure everything is the way that we need it to be. So once everything's booted like this, we can pop on back over to the power switch here and we can flick the amps back on again. This is going to allow sound to come back to this desk. All right, then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to hit on FBL. FBL, it changes a whole load of things that are happening on here. These actually move around. If I'm actually to push these buttons, they automatically move around. This is for the foldback. This is for the actual speakers that we call foldback, which is here and here. And that's for musicians. So in most of our kids stuff we do at juniors, we don't use any of that. So what we want to do is we want to bring this slider back down to 0 so we're not sending any volume there. And we're going to repeat that on this one here, and we're going to bring the volume all the way back. So if we were to now hit FBL, all right, you'll see that this slider stays down, and FBL, this slider stays down. And we can then move back to main here. This is our main volume controller. All right, so if we then have a look at all of these will be in a different setup depending on how things are. At the moment, nothing's muted. It can be possible that you will have come back to the desk and it will be completely like this. And I would suggest that if it's not got all of these lights on, that you push each one of these mute buttons, and that mutes all the extra sounds in, because generally we only need these mics at the end here. So we need the mics and the media. So this one here is the sound from the computer. All right, so we can unmute that and we can see our sound in for the computer here. And this is our master volume for out to the main speakers. Then you can actually see here, it says, probably don't know whether it says very well if it focuses, WL. That means worship leader mic. That's our two radio mics. That's these two radio mics. And these are controlled down here. So even if we are to try and turn these items off, all right, we won't get any sound because over here, this group is already muted. So you want to take that off, all right, and then you'll be able to watch over here. All right, so if we leave these two on mute, all right, neither of these will push any sound out to the main part of the desk, but when somebody's speaking, you can just unmute the one that you want. If you've got two people speaking and they finish because you're playing a song, then obviously you could come straight over here and push the button for mute here, and that'll actually mute the entire group of those. All right, but just to watch that, you do need to remember to unmute that. So that's really the main thing that you need to get set up there. You need to turn the radio mics on, which are the little red button here underneath, I think it is, and that should start those up. All right, so that's the main bit with the sound. When it comes to turning the sound desk off, we'll have a look at that right at the end of it, but you're going to need this shutdown button here. So this now is already set up. I'm going to put the main microphones back into mute so they're not used, and I'm just going to go and have a look and show you about the computer here. All right, so let's just see what we can walk through on the actual Mac itself. We're trying to make this now as simple as possible. So you're going to need to log in. The password at the moment is literally Youth Center. I don't think I've just typed that right. I have. All right. And I will probably do an actual video on how to use Presenter. But this will just get you started for how to be able to actually make the program run during the kids thing. So here you go, there's the main screen over here, and here's our screen here. So the things that we're interested in are two different items. We're interested in Spotify, all right, and we're interested in ProPresenter. Both of these are used for what we need. So you'll actually find up here we've got C3 Media on Spotify, up here at the top. All right, and then down here you will actually see a C3 Kids playlist. This is our background music. So when we're ready and we're just waiting for kids to arrive or we're playing games, then we can just come down and hit play. Hopefully you can just see that. The sound's starting to play. If we come over to the mixing desk, the sound input for the computer is controlled by here, as you can hear. All right, so find a volume that's good for that, and then the master volume, the overall sound that is controlled, is controlled from there. So I can bring down the whole house sound, or I can bring down just this. So if somebody was speaking and you wanted to keep music in the background, then obviously you can just bring the music down here while they're speaking on the microphones over here. All right, so that's got our background sound. So when we're done, we can stop that. And obviously we can just minimize that if we need to. Now, this becomes a little bit more interesting, but hopefully becomes a little bit easier as well. And I'm hoping that it roughly stays in focus for us. So let's have a look at ProPresenter. So we can just minimize left-hand corner if you've not used a Mac much before, Spotify, and this is what is called ProPresenter. Now there's a couple of things that we need to now check on the computer first, all right, because it does lose some of the content the first time. So a bit like the scaler, do need to make sure you do this. All right, so you're going to, I don't know whether it's going to focus for me very well. You need to come and click down on Finder. Once you've started up Finder, you need to click up at the top here. You've got an option that says Go. Where's my mouse gone? All right, here we go. All right, we've got an option there called Go. Click on Go and scroll right the way down to the bottom and choose Connect to Server. It'll already have an entry in here. All right, I've added it to the favorites. If you can't use it, remember where it is, highlight it and choose Connect. It shouldn't prompt you for anything else other than do you want to connect to media, and you choose OK. That's all you need to remember to do. That window doesn't need to do anything now, and you can actually see over here it says C3BD Plex. All right, all that's doing is just allowing the server, the ProPresenter, to see all the files on the server. There's nothing more that you need to do or worry about, and you maybe want to do that at the start if you're not sure. All right. So then it comes to having a look at what we can actually do with ProPresenter. So I'm just going to try and see where everything has disappeared to. So the main thing that we want up here, all right, hopefully you'll see, I will record a clearer one of how to use ProPresenter, is the option up here. You've got a library and you've got a playlist. What you really want to be able to do here, because this is not about how to use ProPresenter, it's how to make it happen, is you just want to come down to library and find the playlist for the day. I've renamed, got this the wrong day, but now once you're in here, it's already loaded the content ready for the day. If I was to click that, it automatically starts playing over there. Down here, I've got my option of how to pause it, restart it again if I want to, push it back to the beginning, scroll it. But everything here is automatically playing and it's already scaled out on the screen there. Maybe just move this water bottle so that it's a little bit more visible for you. So once we've done that one song, remember, volume is controlled by over here. So it may be a little bit quiet, so we can now bring the volume up for this song. All right, and there it is playing. If we now, once we're ready and we've stopped that one, for instance, we've stopped it over here and we're like, okay, we want to do the one that's God is good, then all we need to do is click this one. All right, and it literally starts playing out there and we are good and ready to go. We want to move on to the message, which you'll generally find by scrolling down to the bottom. You just click this and off it goes. There's no figuring out where the mouse needs to be or anything else. It's just literally as simple as that. All right, so that's how we use ProPresenter. Then obviously you come back to Spotify if you want your background music. So that's how to get most of the screens and everything working. All right, so if we want to turn everything off, we're going to do it in reverse. All right, so our first thing we're going to do is we can turn off these two. Once we've turned off those two, all right, then we can come back to the amps here and turn this button off. We can then come back to the sound desk and we push shut down, and it'll tell you when it's ready to shut down, and then you can reach to the back and push in that button and all the lights will go off. We can then come and turn off the Mac. If you've not done that before, you click up on the little Mac icon up here, all right, and you choose it and go down and choose shut down. Once the Mac's turned off, all right, then all you need to do is flick this switch here. That'll turn the power off to this desk. You can turn the light off here, and obviously you want to turn the power switches off on that side and of that side of the screen, and that big switch that's out the back there. All right, that's quite a long run through, but it does cover all of the items needed to just get this whole running. Where the little problems are, the scaler box, remember, the mapped drive or the drive to connect to the server here, and your volume options over here. But if you can grab and get all of those, then actually getting everything working here is now pretty straightforward, and I hope that's been useful.